So today we're going to be installing new struts on a Toyota Sienna. Okay. We have our new struts right here, and the old ones are making noises. The old ones are making noises. So we're going to be doing the installation today of the new struts. We're going to remove this tire, take all the lugs out, and start replacing our struts. Just loosen it off the lug nuts, okay, before you actually raise the vehicle up using a jack. Let's loosen this off. Alright. Yeah. While you're doing all this stuff, make sure that your emergency brakes are on. Okay. Before you lift off, make sure your emergency brakes are on. All that stuff. Okay. Yeah. That looks alright. Okay, that's good enough. Now I'm going to remove this. The rest of the lug nuts. Tire out. Alright, yeah. Get the tire out. See? First thing, you remove this screw right here. Okay. And after that, remove this, unscrew this bolt right here that holds the sway bar in place, and then this bolt, it's two bolts, there's one right here and one at the bottom. Remove that, and you should be good to go on this end right here. Then we're going up there to remove more bolts. Okay. The brake line. Okay. Alright, now we start working on this. That's a sway bar. We're going to remove this. We're going to use an Allen wrench in the middle to counter tension while turning this bolt counterclockwise. Okay. Okay, so we have a 17mm over here. Okay, or wrench to use to remove this sway bar nut, and then we're using an Allen wrench bit to counter tension going counterclockwise. All right, so this one goes counterclockwise, and the wrench goes clockwise. I mean, the wrench goes counterclockwise and we use a counter tension going clockwise. using the Allen wrench bit. All right, so I have to put the camera down to be able to do that, but I'm just showing you. All right, there. To turn this screw loose, see, that's what I'm doing right now. You need that Allen wrench to hold some kind of just to hold attention so you can turn this, and a counter. So we got this loose, so just push that on the side from now. We took that off from the strut mount, and we remove this too, your brake line and your ABS wire. Okay, now the next thing we got to work on is this, the bolt that holds the rotor spindle. Okay, in place, or connects the rotor spindle to the strut. So we're going to do that. I want to remove this. Okay, I'm using a 22 millimeter for the nut, and for the bolt I am using a socket wrench right here, 7/8. There you go. All right. So I'm kind of improvising. I'm using this to get a leverage. So I put that right there, see? So I can start turning it. All right. And I'm using this wrench right here to provide the counter tension. So there, see? It's going to turn. Now I can do the same thing there at the bottom, just loosen. Alright, okay, so that's loose. We're just going to kind of like loosen it off a little bit more because we already broke it loose. Okay, a little bit. There. Now, we'll do the same thing there at the bottom. See? Okay, this bottom one took me like a good 10 minutes to break it loose. All right, so what I did is just I used the bar again and put it over here, and just went counterclockwise. So now while pushing here, there's a lot of pushing. I sprayed it again with WD-40, but that's broken loose. See? All right, so now I kind of like just loosen that off a little bit. 3. Okay. All right, so we tap this off a little bit. All we do is just there. Okay, we got that. We try to remove the clip. It goes here. This is a computer clip. There you go. So just start turning. Okay. Now that this is both loose, using a socket wrench, that's loose, I can just unscrew it by hand. There you go. One, and then the other one too. It holds the wipers. Okay. All right. Put this over here for now where I can find it again. Alright, so I can lift this wipers up, okay? And remove this too, okay? So now after we remove the wipers, okay, we just kind of like pry this. There you go, see? Open. And just lift that off. Oh, there. Okay. just move it out of the way. You can start working on the struts. Okay. Okay, so after I lifted the covers off from here, from the wipers, okay, unscrew the wipers both, remove them, and pried off the covers. I still have this to remove. So you have like a few screws here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that I had to remove before I could start moving this thing, because I had to get this out of the way in order to access the top part of the strut installation. So now you gotta remove all those screws and take this out, this whole pan. All right. After that, you have to take the hose. It's just kind of like snapped in there on the holder. Take the hose out there and here too, before you can move this out of the way. Okay. All right. So now, after I move this panel out a little bit, is the only time I'm able to have access to the bolts. Okay, so we're going to use a socket wrench to remove those bolts. And see, that is already cracked. That's the one that's making noises. That's why it needs to be replaced. So now I can start working on removing the old strut. Okay, so we're trying to loosen off all the screws that holds the strut here on the top of the car. Okay, so we got 2 of the bolts off. Now there's another one there in the back. I have to stop filming so I can access it, but the other one has already been removed. 1, 2 was removed. One more there in the back and we're good to go. Okay, then we're just going to push this strut down and it should come off. Now it's all loose. We just push this down. Okay, I'm going to push the strut down because we removed all the screws. 3 screws here on the back, but see how that thing is busted, and that's what's making all the noises. So it does need to be replaced, as you can see. So now we go down here, since all the bolts have been removed, we kind of like just take this out a little bit at a time. There, see, we support it. It comes off. I might need both my hands and I have to stop filming. I'll try to film as much as I can. All right, take this out. All right, and get the new one. All right, so I'm just gonna lift this up. I can't do it with both hands, but this needs to come off. It's already free. The bolts have all been removed, so I'm gonna take this out. But I have to shut the camera off because I need both my hands. And now we were able to remove the old strut. It's here. Okay. Let's see. That's pretty messed up. See? Banged up and old. And right here, see how rusted up that thing is? So now let's go get our new one, replacement, and install it the same way that we removed the old one. Okay? This goes up there. So the new strut is already in position. I already kind of like pushed it up here and put 2 screws in without tightening it. With it only using my hand to kind of like hand tight it a little bit so it stays up. Otherwise it's gonna drop down. So I put 1 more screw on that area right there. 1. Okay, and tighten up the whole thing. All right. And after we put the screws in there by hand, we use a socket wrench to tighten up all 3 screws, all 3 bolts, okay? Okay. Now that the bolts are pretty tight here on the top, and it's holding the top of the strut securely, we go down here. The next thing we have to do is just put the rotor spindle back in here and the bolts, okay, and the sway bar goes in there, and all your electric wires, I mean, and the brake line and your electric, your ABS sensor, and this back, okay. The bolts are semi in. What you do is just kind of like push this back and forth. I can't show you on the video because I'm holding the camera. I need both of my hands until this bolt goes all the way in here, and so it's at the bottom. Then you can start tightening up the screws, okay. Now that the bolt is all the way in, we put the nuts back, hand tight first, same here at the bottom, before we use our tools, okay. There you go. Now you can use your tools that you used to remove this, to unscrew it in the first place, to tighten it up. All right. Next, we put the sway bar back where it's supposed to. You might have to use something to, like a pry bar, to push this bar down, so this one will be able to go back in here. Now you put the screw back in by hand first, tighten it later when you're done putting everything in place. Okay. Yeah. Okay, now we put this back. And this in there, and we put the screw back, the nut, by hand, and then we tighten it up. There you go. Use a wrench or whatever you can use to tighten that thing up. Okay, so we tighten up. Okay, and now tighten this and that, put this back where it belongs, right here, and you're done. We have a new strut installed. You have the bolts all installed correctly, and the one on top, it took a lot to just take this out, but we got it. All right, so we're just putting everything back in the tire. Make sure all your bolts are tight, and I still have to tighten this up, but I can't show you that in the camera, but you got the idea. Okay, and put all your tires back, and the job's done. All right. I'm not gonna put this one back yet because I have to change the struts on the other side too. Okay, but you got the idea. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you again next time. Okay, here's the old and the new replacement. You'll see it's busted up there at the end. That's brand new. Okay. Now we gotta do this side too. Alright, so everything's good.